Welcome to the Rise Above the Grind podcast. I am your hostess, the consultress, Alissa Bickar, bringing you cutting edge conversations from entrepreneurs who are changing the game, who are living in today's age of disruption and innovating, creating new value. What we're here to discuss is the nature of change, how things change over time, and what that means in today's business environments, living environments, and how those things intersect. Today's featured guest is Megan Schwan. She is a profit first specialist and does all things magician behind the business curtain of helping people stay on point and data first with their financials. So, Megan, it's great to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Alyssa. It's great to be here.
Yeah, high five.
Yes.
So excited to get this party started. Tell me what the word grind means to you.
Geez. So I've been in business for 12 years. And so I think for me, grind is just like that tenacity and resilience and intention of just continuing to go, because when you're in business and you've been in business as long as I am, you experience the ups and downs. Like there's highs and there's lows, and you can grind it out as far as, you know, putting your head down and just grinding it out. But I also think there's a little bit of like grit within the grind. And that is kind of what it means more to me, is like that grit grind, if that makes sense. Like they're like, to me, kind of intertwined in one and the same. Even though I know they're different. But for me, when I think of grind, I almost kind of think more of grit, because I think you need to have a little bit of both to continue forward successfully. And so that's definitely been like how I've correlated the word.
Listen, the image I'm getting is this polished sphere, right? So with the grind comes grit, and those two
Yeah.
things create friction against one another to create a
Yes.
well-polished, well-rounded individual. And so what I'm
Yeah.
hearing inside of your definition of grind, which again, I've never had two of the same conversations in this room ever. And so what I'm hearing from you is it's the thing that sharpens us. It's the thing that
Hmm.
polishes us when we dedicate ourselves. And I love some of the words that you used. I heard put my head down, make sure that I'm dedicated, resilience, and
Hmm.
all of this word salad to me paints a really cool picture about kind of what it means in terms of like devoting yourself to your craft, devoting yourself to
Yeah.
your passion. And those 12 years, and maybe it's your 10,000 hours or whatever, where you're creating this mastery, you do develop grit. You do
Yeah.
develop the, oh, get down, fall down, and get back up again. Oh,
Hmm.
trip, fall, stumble, and get back up again. The grit that
Yeah.
you develop in the pursuit of building a business, I think it rounds us out as humans. And so,
Yeah.
what do you think about kind of how you've been transformed by your grit and grind in your perseverance?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a really great imagery of just like being polished, because I do feel like that's what's happened, as me as a person, like looking back where I started, I was in my early 20s to where I am now. It's like I've changed so much as a person. Like my business has really helped me um become a better version of myself, more mature, more analytical, more thoughtful, more compassionate, like all these really great emotional intelligence kind of aspects I've had to do. And I've also had to like grow as a leader. So not just like as a person, but like specifically, especially as a leader, because I have a team, and that's also helped me become, a better parent and a better individual. And just like all of these things that end up being connected when you're pursuing, like you said, excellence and mastery. Like you have to level up as a person and kind of become more refined and more polished, like you said, as I really love that imagery, as an individual as well. And so I can definitely attest to that. Like I'm still on that journey. I'm probably still a little bumpy. Like I'm not fully polished, but like I'm at least in that direction. And I've always taken that too. Like any failure in business, I used to take it so hard, and internalize it so much. But what I've learned is that every failure is really an opportunity. It's an opportunity to improve services, improve systems, improve communication, all these different things that, kind of finding the gap of like what's happened, what didn't work, and being able to refine and, um, you know, adjust or evolve, into a better version of whatever the challenge was for that failure.
And so, oh, so much juice in here. And what I'm hearing from the personal side of the house is that it's developing grace for you. So when we
Yeah.
first get started in any endeavor, like hitting that critical mass point, it's going to require a lot of start and stops, a lot of jagged
Yeah.
edges, a lot of maybe it's uncertainty, maybe it's challenges, or I just thought I wanted to build a website and I opened up this can of worms and here's all these other cans that are in there. We
Yes,
get to
so
kind of
true.
learn in motion, and then it manages our expectations for next time. It also sharpens us and says, okay, I do want to repeat this piece, but maybe try it with a different tack. So it's
Right.
an kind of a truth of and a testament to building your character over time. And so that grace that you've been able to develop for yourself as you've been building business and as you've been a parent out there in the world. Where have you seen some of those uh, teaching points that you've brought your personal experience into either your parenting book of business or both?
Well, I do, the coaching aspect now is kind of a newer area. I mean, I guess I kind of was already doing it, but like officially doing it over the last couple of years. And so now I get to really take a lot of my own journey and development and things that I've had to learn as an individual and business owner into what I do for coaching. And then on the parenting side, like I teach, my kids a lot of the things I've had to learn in business, which is just like, you can't control other people. You got to only focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
Things like that. I'm trying to think of another thing off the top of my head, but there's so many like life lessons in business, and I often pull those things out, like how to deal with conflict, and how to, admit when you're wrong and take accountability, like those are things that are really important in business, but also just in life. And so I think that those are things that I kind of mesh together. And then too, just the overall like leadership development. I have 3 boys at home. My daughter's out of the house now, but my 3 boys are at home. And so like teaching them those leadership lessons, and how to be, everybody's a leader in their own right. It doesn't matter if you're running a business or not. And so teaching them that is really, really important. Especially, as minorities and people in minority spaces, because my kids are mixed, and that's really important lessons for them to learn, that will really be important as they grow into men, in the long run, and productive members of society. So there's so many lessons in business that we learn that really translate into life. And I think, sometimes people talk about like separating life and business, but you really can't do that. Nobody can really do that, even work. And so I think that's a fallacy that we try to meet, and just being able to even embrace that, like, I think somebody mentioned, really loving the work that they're doing because you work most of your life, right? So like even things like that, like not doing what the status quo is, but really thinking about like who you are as a person, what you want, what your goals are, because I have had to do that for my business too. It's like, who do I want to serve? What is my mission? What is my impact? So just teaching those kind of things to my kids, and even sometimes my clients, because sometimes they don't have those things in place either. And it's like, well, you can't go in a direction until you know what direction you want to go in, right? So you got to have that target. So just like all those little things I've been able to translate for our clients and for my kids. And that's what I love about what I do. And
Yeah.
growing a
I mean,
business and that grind,
and
like
we get to be all of those things, right?
exactly.
I wear the wife hat, the mother hat, the
Yeah.
entrepreneur hat, the real estate investor hat, and I'm sure there's about 3 dozen more with labels and names
Yeah.
over there. But at the end of the day, wherever I show up, I'm bringing my presence. And so
Hmm.
having that bucket of experiences, no matter if they were revenue generating, life transforming, relationship developing, bringing all of yourself to the table is actually an art form I think that the world is in desperate need of right now. Because what
Yeah.
I typically tend to kind of create the contrast around in these conversations is that we are all right now a product of the industrial age. Sit down, shut up, do your job, don't create, don't talk back, just do as you're told. And we are, as entrepreneurs and innovators, are breaking down that paradigm and going, hang on. So if I'm not me and I'm not creative, I'm behaving as a cog in a machine that already has a prescripted outcome. It already has a given set of variables and a given set of outcomes that are quote unquote desirable. But in today's age of disruption, as we enter this new phase of interconnectedness, cross-cultural, and overall blending of an entire globe worth of people, like there are more
Yeah.
people online and interconnected than ever before. It changes the nature of how we get to show up. And we're now
Mhm.
awakening and remembering that human beings are creative beings primarily. And so
Yeah.
to leave that on the table, to leave that behind in favor of, I'm just here to do a job, a robotic, wash, rinse, repeat. It is like you were saying, it's a fallacy. Like you need
Yeah.
to show up as all of you so that you can bring value to the people who you're meant to help overcome their challenges. So to
Right.
that end, I know that, in the financial space, you've been able to do that for a lot of people to help them. And I'm a profit first subscriber. I really do love that structure of how you can organize your financial life to be able to see more clearly what it is that you're looking to accomplish, what you're funding, because what you measure, you get to improve. So,
Right.
how has this kind of holistic focus of yours, can you share with us a case study or how that's transformed one of your clients, either their businesses or themselves personally or both?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I think, ends up happening both ways. And so, one in particular client, we've been implementing, or we implemented, and we've been working through what we call profit points. So, once we implement the system, then we start digging into all the different areas of business that affect profitability. And sometimes it's as small as like timing. So we had switched her invoicing timing and her contract paying timing, right? So she was invoicing her clients and was paying her contractors and was really feeling this crunch every month. And it was really disruptive and overwhelming because, she got to that time when she had to pay her contractors and she was feeling that she didn't have enough. So all we did was change how she was billing. Instead of billing once a month, she was going to bill her clients twice a month. And then same thing on the contractor side. Instead of paying them once a month, she was going to pay them twice a month. And it just like that small tweak ended up helping her cash flow and her stability so much that it became like this mindset shift or this empowering kind of thing for her. But then even deeper than that, with setting up the system and getting money into different buckets and really understanding where all of her dollars were going and being able to plan ahead, what she had said was one of the things she had said that really stuck out to me was that even though the year wasn't going as great, and I think a lot of people have had experienced that this year's been really kind of weird last 18 to 24 months. And the same is true for her. So even though she didn't meet her goals and she didn't really hit all the numbers that she wanted to, she at least now understood why. And I think that's just such a powerful thing because I think so often business owners, or individuals in general, like we know money is coming in, we know money is going out, but when things happen, we don't always know why. And that like scrambling and searching and like uncertainty and lack of clarity, it are things that really affect us, emotionally and like our confidence and us mentally, especially as leaders. So like when she was able to finally understand like why things were the way that they were and where what the gap was or where the leak was, she was able to then make better decisions, and that was really empowering for her. And now her confidence is much bigger than it was, and she's trusting herself more. And I think that's so powerful and that's so great, especially as owners, because if you don't feel confident and you feel like you can't trust yourself, it's really hard to lead people. It's really hard to make those decisions and to grow, towards whatever your goals are. And that's where people feel defeated and exhausted and overwhelmed and all those other kind of things. So sometimes it's not a big thing that needs to happen. It's just about putting like systems in place so that you're able to see the red flags or the gaps, before they actually become red flags and gaps, right?
let's not continue to be ostriches with our
Yeah.
butts exposed to the next detonation.
Mhm.
Clear and useful information and habits, and sometimes it's just a little tweak that you
Yes.
need. And that's just it makes all the difference. So I want to
Mhm.
thank you so much for being here for this
Thank you
conversation.
for having me.
It feeds my soul to be able to host these discussions. And again, no two conversations are ever the same. And where the conversation goes is based on what the world needs to hear now. So don't miss another episode. If you're out there streaming this, stay tuned. We have another amazing guest lined up for you right after this. But before we hop off the broadcast, Megan, where can people find you to connect and learn more about what you're up to?
I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can also go to Chat with Meg, which goes to our website, and you can find all the links and consult links and information about us on there. So,
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing time with us. Stay
thanks
tuned
for
for the
having me.
next guest coming right up.